Alrighty, students, this very short video will be on the concept of budget lines and indifference curves. Just to give a little backstory here, the purpose of a budget line and indifference curves is to illustrate the concept of constrained optimality. Keep in mind that in economics, we have scarce resources. We also have people want lots of stuff, so they have to make choices. Those choices lead to opportunity costs. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And so a budget line creates a constrained optimality in a graphical way. Indifference curves are just graphical models or representations of people's level of utility or satisfaction. And the further out the curve is from the origin, which is where the x and the y axis meet, the higher the utility. Curves have a bowed out shape because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility says the more you consume of one specific item, the less you will value it on the margin, meaning I would have to give up more and more of one thing to get another. And so there's a variety of ways that we can use this. Let's just build this out real quick. So let's say we've got a person. The name is Poot. It's from a TV show called The Wire. He was kind of a bit character, but one that I just got a kick out of. But anyway, I digress. Let's assume he has a budget of $10. So he has $10 he can spend. He can spend that money on either soda or he can spend that money on potato chips. Each of those items costs $1. So if all he did was buy soda, he could get 10 cans. If all he did was get potato chips, he could get 10 bags, or any combination that is on the budget line. Now, he can't consume somewhere out here because he doesn't have the resources, he doesn't have the finances. Could he consume in here? He could, but for purposes of this model, we're assuming that he's going to use all of his available resources. So in that way, it's a little bit like the PPF, where we assume that he's always going to get the most bang for his resources. No saving with Mr. Poot here. So we have three indifference curves: indifference curve A, B, and C. And so if it helps, rather than have A, B, and C, you could replace this with 100, 200, and 300 to represent values of utility that are achieved through consumption. And so any point on this curve here, C, is preferable to any point on this curve, A. Now, why it's called an indifference curve is you're equally satisfied consuming here, 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 or here on the same curve. So if we look at this, the optimal level of consumption that can be achieved is right here where this curve is tangential to the budget line. Doesn't have the financial resources to consume at C, and A, he could consume an A here or there, but that would not be efficient. So let's take a look, and let's say that the price of potato chips falls to 67 cents a bag. What happens? Well, first, what could cause the price of potato chips to fall? Maybe there is a ridiculously good harvest of potatoes, meaning that the cost of inputs for producers has dropped, so they can produce more at a cheaper price. When that happens now, instead of being constrained at 10 bags of potato chips, Poot could get 15. And so the slope of the budget line changes. When the slope of the budget line changes, now we can consume on the indifference curve C. So we have a higher level of satisfaction. Let's think about that a minute. This is common sense, right? If the price of something falls that you're consuming, your level of satisfaction should increase. You should be able to get more of it, which should make you generally happy. Let's take the next example here. Oops, let's go to this one. Oh no, the price of potato chips has doubled. It went from $1 to two. What could cause that? Massive shortage of potatoes, some sort of weather event, whatever it is. And so now our new budget line is here, which means our best outcome is this indifference curve here, A. Finally, let's have Poot get a win. He gets a raise. So now he can make $13. That's his new budget. So the entire budget line shifts outward, parallel to the original. And so he can now consume at point C. Okay. So to wrap up very quickly, what's a budget line with indifference curves tell us? Uh, for this entry level class or for an entry level class, it's really just a way to look at constrained optimality. The budget line represents your constraint, represents the maximum amount of resources that you have, and the indifference curves represent your potential utility. And so you are always going to strive to get to the budget or to the indifference curve that's furthest out from the origin that meets the budget line. Okay, I hope this video has helped. If you're on my YouTube channel, take a look at some of my other materials there. I've got some playlists, all of that. And hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everyone.